Hey everyone, Kyle Meinke here from MLive.com, joined by Justin Rogers back in Allen Park. Day 2 is in the books, Justin, after another long day at Allen Park. Round 2, they got their tailback, Amir Abdullah from Nebraska, and in round 3, got Alex Carter, cornerback from Stanford. What's your first initial blush of how the Lions fared in day 2?
You know, I think we disagree on this. I'm not a huge Amir Abdullah guy. You know, I don't like the fumbles. I don't like how much mileage is on those legs after 3 years. I get what the Lions are trying to do. They're adding a dynamic tailback with return game ability. He wasn't particularly dynamic in the return game. I think he's more dynamic as a backfield option. They're better return men if that was the goal, but you know they're looking for that versatile all-round option.
Yeah.
Just those fumbles bother me. I know they've been decreasing every year, but 23 of them, it's a lot.
He lost 2 fumbles last year. That's fewer than Tevin Coleman from Indiana, who was the other top tailback, I thought, or at least speed tailback who was available. And I think the Lions really did. I mean, Jim Caldwell said they were going to get the best tailback who was available to them when they took a tailback. But I really believe they prefer a speed option to go with Joik. And getting a guy like Abdullah, he does offer you possibilities in the return game. And I'm not sure. I have no idea if he's going to be a star punt returner or never return a punt in the NFL. That's to be determined, but at least offer some competition for Jeremy Ross. And so you're in better shape, I think, today in the return game than you were yesterday. And then, of course, you know he's the home run hitter. I think that you were lacking without Reggie Bush in the backfield. He can complement Joik, and I think he's a good fit for the offense. Pretty good pass catcher. The hand size is an issue. The fumbles are an issue. They have been in the past, but the Lions were adamant that those were in the past or becoming a thing of the past, and it's something that he can learn. And they did point to he only lost the 2 fumbles last year, and so I think there has been some growth with him.
Yeah, and you know he said it was more a concentration issue. He had a lot more fumbles when he was doing special teams work, you know, and I think that hand size is the one thing he can't correct. There's nothing he can do about it. It's just what he's working with. You know, I worry about that, especially, you know, fielding punts. If you bobble it a little bit, it's going to be harder to regather when you're taking a hit. You know, like I said, I'm not in love with the pick. I would have liked to have seen the Lions maybe continue to address the trenches at that spot, but
A third lineman.
Yeah, well, whether, you know, offense or defense.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, I think with the defensive tackle market, we talked about this in the video from Friday morning, Justin, but I think the defensive tackle class is softer than what we thought it was, what experts thought it was. Almost every defensive tackle has slipped further than what experts thought he was going to be taken. From Leonard Williams at the top, going from 3 to 6, down to Malcolm Brown, who slid to 32. He was, I think, the most popular prospect mocked to the Lions.
By far.
Yeah. And then you look at, like, Jordan Phillips was a guy some people are talking about for the Lions, 23. He fell into the middle of the second round, correct?
Yep.
And then, the kid from Ohio State still on the board, Bennett. You know, I mean, some people thought that he could be an option for the late first round or possibly in the second round, and he's still on the board heading into the 4th. So I think there's some options out there, but I just don't think there was. If the line is sticking with BPA, which is what they said they were doing, maybe the defensive tackles just weren't there for them.
Yeah, and so then going to the 3rd round, sticking with that BPA, you know, they made a move up the board to get cornerback Alex Carter, which means that, you know, they didn't like the variance of prospect value in that 8-pick slot. You know, you'll see people go, oh, well, this isn't saying what the analysts say. It doesn't matter what the analysts say. You know, it's what the Lions concluded with their scouts, with their pre-draft process of how they set up their board. Is their board right? You know, remains to be seen, but they believed in Alex Carter, went up and got him, and what do you think of that pick?
Well, they moved up for him, so like Kyle Van Noy last year, it means they have a specific plan for him. Yeah. And it seems, in talking with Caldwell and Mayhew, the plan for him is for him to come in and to compete right away at outside cornerback. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's going to steal a job, but he does give you the depth behind Rashean Mathis that you're looking for, and then would hopefully, I think the club intends for him to become that successor to Rashean, because Rashean will turn 35 this year. I think they're looking for a successor. Carter makes sense in that capacity, but he's big, he's strong, he's physical, he's a great tackler. Those are his strengths. He's 6 foot, 200 and some change. It's possible he could long term play some safety, and he had mentioned when we talked to him that that's something that he would embrace and even wants to do at some point in his career. And Martin Mayhew said he's a corner first, but he could envision him moving to safety at some point. So I think it gives the Lions some versatility back there.
Yeah, Lions fans are probably having a flashback to Amari Spievey, who was brought in as a big physical corner who could tackle, move to safety. I mean, he started, for a couple seasons, but never really took hold as a quality player, and is now out of the league.
I think it's a fair comparison, but I would also say that the Lions certainly have more talent defensively.
Sure.
So they can bring him along slower, and he's got better guys on the team, such as Rasheen, that can show him the ropes, so to say. So he has some things going for him. I think that Spievey maybe didn't.
Yeah, I liked the trench guys in round 3. I didn't make the board. It's the Lions board. In terms of Carter, I see what they're trying to do. I like it. I like the pick. I like his size. I think he's got above average athleticism. He's 20 years old. There's a lot of room to grow.
Right.
Like I praised Chris Kasurek and Jim Washburn and being able to get the best talent at defensive tackles, I actually really believe in the secondary coaches on this team too. I mean, look at Darius Slay's evolution from year 1 to year 2. He just took this monstrous leap forward. Carter he went to Stanford. I'm saying the obvious here. A really smart kid. We talked to him on a conference call today. Extremely polished. Richard Sherman is a big idol of his, coming from Stanford. Kind of models his game a little bit after him with the physicality. He's not as big as Sherman, but he seems like a prospect that there's a lot of room to grow, and he's already above average in terms of what he can offer. So I like it. I like 1 year under Rasheen Mathis under this coaching staff to potentially fill that role going forward. I do. Carter's
father, Tom, was actually an NFL veteran too.
Yep.
His father actually took over for Martin Mayhew as a starting cornerback in Washington when Mayhew left for Tampa. Kind of an interesting little. Yeah. So Carter told us that the priest that baptized him is the same priest that baptized Martin Mayhew.
He's got a bunch of weird little stories like that. I'll have something on tomorrow, but he played golf with Rasheen Mathis when he was a little kid. He roomed with Barry Sanders Jr. Barry Sanders was his idol growing up, and so he's got some quirky Lions connections. It's not like he grew up a Lions fan or anything, but I don't know. I think fans, when they see this guy, when they hear him, when they see him on the field, I think they'll immediately kind of become attached to him.
Yeah. My point was just that he has the NFL pedigree, and he kind of carries himself away. I think that'll help him. Looking forward to day 3, Justin. I think you'd agree with me. The top need at this point for the Lions is defensive tackle. They need to get a guy. Michael Bennett from Ohio State, I think, is the number 1 guy in my board. I thought, according to people I talked to, I thought the Lions were high on him, and he was a possibility for them in the 3rd round. So he's still there. Lions still don't have the defensive tackle, and they still have long-term concerns, I think, at the position with only Karan Reed under their control for into 2016. How do you see Dave? What's your big takeaway for day 3?
Here's the problem. The Lions don't pick until about 70 picks into this draft. So you can look at all the prospect boards out there. The guys that you like are going to be long gone unless the Lions take some kind of pick from this year or specifically pick next year.
Right, because they have 10 or maybe even 11 for next year, and they can work with those.
Yeah. You're probably going to have to give up a 3rd round next year to get into the 4th round, especially at the higher part. That's a big cost, but if you really like Bennett, that's something you consider. There's some guys that are athletic but were inconsistent. The kid out of Central Michigan, Walton's an interesting one. Some of the names are escaping me now. There's a kid out of Indiana. Just some prospects with athleticism. And Marcus Hardison, the kid from Arizona State that was defensive end, defensive tackle. I don't know where he's going to go. I think people don't really know. He's kind of like a square peg round hole. Played DT or DE with Sun Devils, but guy's got a DT body. He's 305, 310 pounds. So there's a projection there. Some team might want to take a chance on him. I think, I think that the coaching staff here could develop him into becoming a pretty good 3-tech.
Last thing, real quick, through 2 days, what grade do you give the Lions for what they've done?
Oh, I hate draft grades, Kyle.
Me too. But you got to do them. It's a necessary evil.
Yeah, no, I mean, we talked yesterday. Loved Tomlinson pick. Loved it. I think the Carter pick was solid. I have no problems with it. Amir Abdullah, I question, so I guess a B at this point.
I think I'd go A minus.
Okay.
I think they haven't made a huge sexy pick, I don't think, but I think it was smart to drop down and pick Tomlinson. They still got their offensive lineman. They picked up the pick that they used in exchange to trade up and to get the cornerback they really liked. So that helped them, and I'm totally cool with Abdullah. I think he gives the offense some explosiveness that it was otherwise lacking. I think the fumble thing is trending in the right direction. I have no problems with that. So I can see where he fits into the current roster. A minus, I would say, through 2 days.
Yeah, when we come back,
Maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
No. I mean, when we come back and look at it in 3 years, when we really evaluate this class, you know, if Carter is a solid starter and Abdullah has turned into that complementary back that also is returning kicks successfully, I have almost little to no doubt Tomlinson is going to be solid plus guard. Then it's going to be an A class. But you know, right now I have my doubts about the one, and you know, Carter to me is a coin flip.
That's what we got. One more day of this stuff. We'll be back here in Helen Park all day tomorrow. The draft starts at noon. We'll be here. For Dustin Rogers, I'm Kyle Meinke. We are MLive. Keep it right here.